Hi, it's Lily Amanda for Portrait Creatives. In this video, we are going to talk about when should you sharpen a portrait image in Photoshop. There's certain workflow we go through for retouching an image, and when to sharpen image, that's a question being pop up every now and then. Everyone seems to have the same question. What I usually do is I usually sharpen an image at the very end of the portrait retouching, because it really depends on what the purpose of the image. Is it for Instagram? Is it for website? Or is it for print? Is it small print or large print? With different purpose of the image, you need to sharpen the image in a different way. Okay, so that's just basically how it should be done. Nowadays, mostly we use a portrait image on Instagram, on Facebook, or social media a lot. So today we're going to focus on just talk about how to sharpen image for social media and website. Another question is, should we sharpen the image before adding grain, or add grains first and then sharpen the image? The thing is, there's no right or wrong answers. It all depends on what you want. So the first question you need to ask is, do you want to sharpen the grains to add more extra crispy grain to your image? So that's the question you should ask, right? I will show you the example, like add grain first or sharpen the image first, so you can see how it works and how it looks, and then you can decide what do you want to do. So let me take you to the Photoshop. I'm going to show you some examples. And here we have a beautiful image. Nicole, she's a professional dancer, and I have a beautiful image of her here. So let me duplicate image. Okay, come on, Jay, and then go to filter. And then we are going to use here, sharpen and unsharp mask. Okay, so let me just see this image. Okay, let me just reduce tiny bit here and amount a little bit less. Okay, it looks good, so I'm gonna hit OK. So I'm going to rename this one is sharpen first. Okay, and then I'm going to add grain. Okay, filter and noise, add noise. So here you can start to see there's some grain coming up here, right? So I'm going to make it a little bit more obvious for you. Let me see, number 4, I think 3.5 perhaps. Okay, I'm going to leave it like that. Okay, 3.5 and click OK. And then I'm going to duplicate another image. Come on, Jay, from the background layer. Okay, and I'm going to just make it invisible. And this layer I'm going to name grain, add grain first. Okay, so I'm going to add grain, noise. Okay, add noise. So I'm going to leave it to 3.5 as well. Okay, so you can easily to see the difference. And then I'm going to sharpen it. Filter, sharpen, unsharp mask. It's always exactly the same setting. So I'm going to click OK. And then you can see the difference. So I'm going to zoom in so you can see the effect you want to go to. Okay. And so this one's add grain first. Remember, when we add grain first, you will sharpen the grain as well when you do overall sharpening. So this is add grain first and sharpen later. So this grain is sharpened. And this one, just sharpening without grain being sharpened. So you can see it's rougher. The skin is rougher when you add grain and sharpen it. So you make it more grainy. So you add grain first and sharpen it second. So you actually make the texture more rough. So if that is the effect you're going for, go for it. And then have a look at this one. This one just sharpen and add grain later. Okay, so you can see. And you can see this one slightly smooth because the grains are not been sharpened. And with portrait retouching, I would most probably go for sharpen first and add grain later, because I want to have more control of the grain instead of add sharpening on top of the grain. I will have more control. With portrait retouching, I will always prefer to sharpen the image first and then add grain if I want to add some texture to the skin. I wouldn't want to add grain and sharpen it again because I lost the control of how I want the grain to look like, okay? Because when you add sharpening, it's overall effect, everything is sharpened. You don't have much control of how heavy you want to the grains unless you do a layer mask and then mask it out. And that's double work. And we are trying to save you time here. Basically, what I'm doing here is really a heavy editing because I make it more obvious. The grain and the sharpening all much more exaggerate. I have to exaggerate a little bit more of the effect so you'll be able to see it through video. So this is just today's video about when to add grain and when to sharpen the image. If you find value in this video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel, and I hope to see you in the next video.